Picture this. You're scrolling through your phone at 2 a.m., doom scrolling through endless arguments about politics, climate change, social justice. Your chest tightens. The world feels broken, and you feel powerless. So you do what any decent human does. You share that angry post, sign that petition, maybe even donate $20 to that cause. But here's the thing nobody wants to admit. You wake up the next morning, and nothing's changed. The arguments rage on. The problems persist. You're exhausted, cynical, and secretly wondering if anything you do even matters. What if I told you that the most radical, world-changing act you could ever commit is to stop trying to fix everyone else and start with the one person you've been ignoring? Buckle up, because we're about to flip everything you know about changing the world completely upside down. We've all been sold the Hollywood version of change. You know the script. One person, one microphone, one viral moment that shifts everything. We see Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I have a dream" speech and forget about the 13 years of internal work, study, and preparation that came before it. We see Greta Thunberg addressing the UN and miss the years she spent educating herself before educating the world. Here's what actually happens when we try to change the world from the outside in. Remember that uncle at Thanksgiving who you tried to educate about climate change? How'd that go? Or that Facebook debate where you dropped fact after fact, link after link, absolutely demolishing your opponent's argument. Did they message you later saying, "You know what? You've completely changed my mind"? Of course not. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Hurt people hurt people. Anxious people spread anxiety. Angry people create more anger. It's like trying to clean a mirror while your hands are covered in mud. You just make it worse. Think of society as a massive orchestra. Each person is playing their own instrument, creating either harmony or chaos. Now imagine half the orchestra is out of tune, playing from old, damaged sheet music. Some even playing entirely different songs. No amount of conducting, no matter how passionate or skilled, will make that orchestra sound good. The only solution? Each musician must first tune their own instrument. Here's a story about a teacher in Detroit that perfectly captures this. For years, she was the warrior teacher, fighting the system, arguing with administrators, burning herself out trying to save every kid. She was playing the hero, but her students could feel her exhaustion, her frustration. Her classroom had the energy of a battlefield. Then something shifted. She started meditating for just 10 minutes each morning. Not to become some Zen master, but just to deal with her own anxiety. Within 3 months, something magical happened. She walked into class differently, calmer, more present. Her students noticed immediately. One kid said, "Miss, you seem different. Like, good different." The classroom dynamic shifted. Students who never spoke started participating. The troublemakers caused less trouble. Not because she gave some inspiring speech or implemented a new system, but because she changed the energy she brought into the room. This is the ripple effect in action. But it goes deeper than you think. Scientists have long discovered something called emotional contagion. We literally catch emotions from each other like viruses. In one Harvard study, they found that your happiness doesn't just affect your friends, 1 degree, but your friends' friends, 2 degrees, and even your friends' friends' friends, 3 degrees. You are literally 3 handshakes away from influencing someone you've never met. Gandhi never actually said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world," but what he did write cuts even deeper. If we could change ourselves, the tendencies in the world would also change. He understood something we've forgotten, that personal transformation isn't preparation for changing the world, it is changing the world. So what does this actually look like in practice? Let me break down the 3 pillars with real examples that'll make this concrete. First, cultivating inner peace. Think of yourself as an emotional thermostat, not a thermometer. A thermometer just reflects the temperature around it. Hot room, it goes up. Cold room, it goes down. Most of us are thermometers, matching whatever chaos is around us. But a thermostat? It sets the temperature. Picture a startup founder whose company was imploding. Investors pulling out, team panicking, everything on fire. The old version of this founder would have matched that energy, screaming in meetings, sending passive-aggressive Slack messages at midnight. Instead, they'd been practicing something simple, the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique before every meeting. 5 things they could see, 4 they could touch, 3 they could hear, 2 they could smell, 1 they could taste. Sounds ridiculous? The team started calling them the eye of the storm. While everything spiraled, they stayed centered. That calm became contagious. The team stopped panicking, started problem solving. They saved the company. Not through some brilliant strategy, but through emotional regulation. Second, expanding your understanding. Your mind is like your body. Feed it junk, it produces junk. Feed it wisdom, it produces wisdom. But here's the twist. Most of us are on a mental diet of the same 5 opinions, recycled and repackaged. There's this exercise called intellectual empathy chess. Before you argue your position, you have to argue your opponent's position so well that they say, yes, that's exactly what I mean. Only then can you present your view. Try this with someone you disagree with. It's like CrossFit for your brain, painful but transformative. There's this powerful story about a woman who tried this with her conspiracy theorist brother. Instead of debunking his theories, she asked, "Help me understand why this makes sense to you." For the first time in years, they had a real conversation. He didn't change his mind overnight, but he started listening to her too. The wall between them cracked. That's how bridges get built, one genuine question at a time. Third, taking full responsibility. This is the hardest pill to swallow. Every time you blame someone else, you're saying, "I'm powerless." Every single time. There's this brutal exercise. Write down your biggest problem. Now write 10 ways you contributed to it. Not caused it. Contributed to it. Your toxic boss? Maybe you never set boundaries. The political divide? Perhaps you've only been reading news that confirms what you already believe. This isn't victim blaming. It's power reclaiming. Let me share something that'll blow your mind. Researchers studied crime rates in Washington, D.C. during an experiment where a group of meditators came to the city. During the 8 weeks they were there, meditating in hotels and conference rooms, never interacting with anyone, violent crime dropped by 23%. When they left, it went back up. The police chief had publicly said the only thing that could reduce crime that much would be 2 feet of snow in summer. Or consider the Maharishi effect. When just 1% of a population practices meditation, the entire area shows measurable decreases in violence, accidents, and hospital admissions. Sounds impossible? The research has been replicated over 50 times in different cities. But forget the studies. Think about your own life. Remember that one teacher who believed in you? Not the one who taught you algebra. The one who taught you to believe in yourself. Where are they now? They might not even remember your name, but their ripple is still moving through you, affecting every person you inspire. Or that janitor who treated their work like art, humming every morning at 6 a.m., showing what dignity really meant. Maybe it was someone in your life who made you rethink what it means to show up fully, even for the small things. 20 years later, you might still think about them when you're tempted to half-ass something. Their ripple continues. Here's where it gets wild. Mathematicians call it exponential growth, but I call it the coffee shop principle. Picture a miserable coffee shop. Grumpy barista, everyone on their phones, heavy energy. One person walks in, genuinely happy, makes eye contact, tips well, compliments the barista's earrings. The barista's mood lifts slightly, she's a bit nicer to the next customer. That customer, feeling seen, holds the door for someone. The person smiles at a stranger. Within an hour, the entire energy of that coffee shop is shifted. One person, one choice. Geometric expansion. Now multiply that by every interaction you have in a day. Every Zoom call where you choose patience over frustration. Every text where you choose kindness over snark. Every moment you choose growth over comfort. You're not just changing yourself, you're shifting the mathematical probability of goodness in the world. So here's the paradox that'll rewire your brain. The more you try to change others, the more they resist. But the more you change yourself, the more others change around you. It's like trying to push a rope versus becoming a magnet. The world doesn't need another angry prophet screaming about what's wrong. We have plenty of those. The world needs living, breathing examples of what's possible. People who make others think, I want what they have, not their success or their stuff, their peace, their joy, their way of moving through the world. Your transformation isn't selfish. It's the most generous thing you can offer. Every moment you choose growth over stagnation, understanding over judgment, responsibility over blame, you're literally reprogramming the matrix of human possibility. So here's your mission, should you choose to accept it. Pick one internal habit. One. Maybe it's spending 60 seconds each morning thinking of 3 things you're grateful for. Maybe it's doing 5 push-ups every time you want to check social media. Maybe it's reading for 10 minutes instead of scrolling before bed. Make it so small that your ego can't talk you out of it. So simple that you can't fail. Then do it tomorrow and the next day and watch, not hope, not wish. Watch as the world around you begins to shift. Because here's the ultimate truth bomb. You're already changing the world. Every day, every interaction. The only question is, what kind of change are you creating? The revolution isn't coming. You are the revolution. And it starts with your next choice.